When I first was exposed to Corvin, that was back in 2013, when I was living in New York, and when Corvin was, introduced in the USA. Because Greg, our founder and our inventor, he already worked for so long on this project, but it took him until 2011 to start basically to get into production mode, and in 2013 they launched. And when I was exposed to Corvin, I immediately understood that Corvin is a game changer. Because can you imagine that you can drink any wine in any quantity without committing yourself to actually finish that bottle in the same evening? You and I will have a glass of wine. You like white, I like red, but
and we can be happy.
and we can
both of us.
both of us we can be happy.
And Greg Lambrecht
Yes,
started Caravin because he found that when he was at home, it was difficult to have a glass of wine without opening and finishing the bottle. So he invented Caravin, first of all, as a product that you can use at home.
correct.
But in reality, you find that Caravin is an excellent product for the restaurants because they changed completely the way of serving wine in restaurants, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, so when Greg invented Corvin was for his personal use because his wife was pregnant and he had to travel a lot. On Sunday evening he wanted to have a good glass of wine, but then he was away for a week. And you know as good as I do that then the oxidation process starts, etc., etc. So that's why he invented Corvin. But when you do something to wine, where do you start? You start with the winemakers. So before we actually launched Corvin, we went over the world and did about 900 blind tastings with winemakers and the professionals, the restaurants, to basically taste wines that were accessed with Corvin versus control bottles. Because yes, the system in itself, we will talk about that later. But if you put argon in a bottle and then you put a needle through a cork, and it's kind of complicated. So that's where it started. When we launched Corvin, we started with the winemakers to get their stamp of approval that Corvin does not do anything for your wine. Greg is a medical engineer, and he is inventing a lot of things that you can change in your body. So he is a very smart man, and so the fact to get a glass of wine or wine out of a bottle without removing the cork, he understood very fast. But it took him 5 years to get to argon. So he tested because he knew that he was putting pressure on the bottle to get the wine out. But which type of gas does not affect the wine at all, and that is argon. So it took him 5 years to get to that conclusion.
And did he get to this conclusion thanks also with the collaboration of winemakers?
With winemakers, wine, critics, a lot of other people, and he tested himself a lot at home. So by testing different wines every week, every month, every year, just to see what the influence was with the different style of gas that he was using. So that could be helium or a combination of CO2, etc., etc. So, and then at the end it was a 99.9% pure argon, which basically he used, which is in the atmosphere. So it's something that we breathe in and out every day. So in that sense, it was very close, but it took him 5 years to really come to that conclusion.
And no worries about using carving and preserve the bottles for months.
What we always say is, so the promise that we make is any wine, so still or sparkling, any closure, so it's natural cork or screw cap, and the promise that we make is that your last glass is as good as your first. It can be next day, next week, next month, or year, or years. It all depends what the winemaker intended to do with the wine. So if the wine should be drank within 5 years, it will last for 5 years, because then the wine will change, but not because of Corvin, but because of the natural evolution of the wine.
But you can use Corvin also in sparkling or...
No, today,
not yet.
Today it is, what we see in the world is Corvin is used on still wines, It is used on ports a lot,
Really?
and as well on the dessert.
Everything that has a natural cork at the
Natural cork.
moment.
Yes, natural cork is today.
Because we know that the natural cork is very elastic, so it can close the little hole that
Yes.
you make.
It's like your skin.
It's like your
It's like your skin. It is the natural. So it is really, it opens up and then it closes back. And the wine will think that it has never been opened.
But you have very different kinds of caravine as well.
Correct.
You have like the entry level that
Entry
it's
level.
already, the process is exactly the same.
Correct. Yes.
But you have different kinds of materials, different kinds of
Finishes. Yes.
colors. You have the entry level. It's like
It's Model 1 Black.
Model 1 Black. It's
Is,
the first
that's
that was
the first.
born.
Yes.
And today we have the last one that was born.
Correct.
That is the Model 11.
Model 11.
It's a very top caravan.
It's a high-end caravan, and the brief that we gave to our engineering department is that you need to be able to serve a glass of wine with one hand, a one-hand pour.
One
That-
hand, and we will see that immediately.
We will see that immediately.
This is the Model 11 caravan. And which is your hand?
And right-handed.
Okay.
So basically, the Model 11 is Bluetooth connected, so it comes with an app, and you can regulate the Model 11
So
based
you
on
have
your
an
needs.
app that you can download in your mobile.
Correct.
And in this app, you can see the level of argon you still have.
You can see the level of argon that is still in the capsule. You can see how often you have used your needle. You can set, if you are using, I don't know if you can see it, now it's in glass mode, but you can also put it in sip mode. And
What's the other mode?
this is sip. So if I want to
Just
taste
a
taste,
little sip.
a little
Okay.
sip. Or I put it in glass,
Okay.
but you can regulate that through the app. And the app is connected as well that you can create your own wine cellar. So all the bottles that you have at home, you can scan them, and then the app will create your taste profile.
So you will have in the app all your wines that you open with the caravan.
With Corvin,
They will make your profile, so
Correct.
they will understand which kind of wine you like the most.
correct.
And then you also have advice on what to open next.
Yes, and it goes even further because there's two elements to it. Tonight, we're here in Rome, and okay, me being from the Netherlands, I would say we'll have a pizza. And then I type in pizza, and then the app will recommend the wines that I have in my cellar that are to accommodate with that pizza. But it is also a connection to Spotify for your music, or to Netflix for your movie. So it has different ways of, let's say, connecting wine to other different product categories.
So I can also choose my music that goes with the wine I will open.
With the wine that you want to
Right.
open, for instance. So that is their specialty, I would say, if you look at Model 11. Yes.
Great. And now we have to drink with the caravan.
And I
Just a
promised you.
glass of wine.
So I promised you,
Tirol.
it's a
One hand.
one-hand pour. So I grab the bottle. Only thing I do is I put it on the bottle. I don't know if you can see it, I slip it through. Now it's inside, so you saw it was blue, now it is green.
Because it means that it's
The,
Okay.
the Corvin understands that it's now on the bottle.
okay.
And then I have the one-handed pour.
So you don't have to press.
You don't need to press, it's all automatically. It's all automatically, it's cleaning automatically. Of course, at the end of the evening, you always need to clean the bottle.
And you don't have to stop it.
I can stop it at any given point in time,
Just moving the bottle up.
moving the bottle.
And then you can go to the other glass.
Now I can go to the other glass. So it does
And it's very quick because some customers say, yeah, but it must be very slow in pouring the glass. No, it isn't. It is not slow at all.
It is not slow, and at the same time, maybe not specifically this wine, but if you have a nice bottle of wine that took years to age, maybe it should take 15 or 20 seconds just to get it into the glass, because I think that is an ode to the wine if you make it like that.
And you also have a little new product
Yes.
that you can put here
Yes.
and just have like oxygenation to the wine.
Yes, we basically asked Greg because we got a lot of questions, and of course, with some richer Italian wines, you have that needs to be decanted. So we told Greg and said, listen, we need to have a solution for aeration, for the decanting of the wine. So he created the aerator. And so he invented it in May. We launched it in September. That's what I like working for Corvin. We're a true startup, from idea to production in 90 days. And so basically we have the aerator, and it's about 90 minutes of decanting, but then immediately in the glass. So maybe there is somebody that can and I can show that the next time that we see each other. I'll show it to you live again.
Yes, absolutely.
So when you're done, the only thing you need to do, tip this up, pull it off. Now it went to blue again, so it knows that it is not anymore on the bottle. It's a very cold bottle, so we have to see. But normally, so we went in with the argon. Now the cork is resealing. And basically, after 10-15 seconds.
And with the cold bottle, you have to wait a little bit more.
A little bit longer, because it will take a little bit longer before the cork is resealing.
Because it's free.
It's very tight, yeah. But normally with, let's say, on room temperature, it goes like within 5 or 10 seconds, it's closed again. Yes.
Great. So we can toast.
I think so. Salud.
And you have to clean it?
So, like you are cleaning your glasses at the end of a nice evening, you also just need to put hot water through the spout, so in here, and to clean the needle in itself. After that, you just dry it, and it's finished. That's the only thing you need to do.
And if I wash also this,
It doesn't
okay. Matter.
It's okay. Yes, just don't put it in the washing in the dishwasher.
No dishwasher.
Please.
I will not do that.
No.
Okay. So thank you very much, Maarten. If you have any questions, we are here, and we will answer to you in all your curiosity. Thank you so much, Maarten, and thank you for having been here in Rome to explain to us the new Corvin Model 11.
Thank you.